What gave you the idea to drive your Razor all the way to Idaho from Cedar City?
From Cedar City, Utah. Well, we spend the spring in Cedar City, bring the Razor up to Idaho Falls on a trailer. And I thought, this being a green and wet spring, that it'd be the perfect time to drive the Razor up here. Came by myself because I couldn't convince anybody else to be crazy. Had a great trip, had great hotels every night. Showed me that you can get out and enjoy the backcountry, the dirt roads, the trails, and have a good place to spend the night, have a good hot meal and a good hot shower and a nice bed every night.
So it only took you 5 days?
Took five days to get here from Cedar City. First night we stayed in Garrison, Utah at the Hidden Valley Retreat run by Dr. Crouch, a retired or semi-retired urologist that I happened to go to years ago. And so we're in the dining area in the morning. He and his wife are serving the guests. So I went over and said, "Do you recognize me now?" He said, "Well, you'll have to take your clothes off." So I grabbed my belt. He said, no. There's other people here. So left there and went over to what they call the border station. It's right at the Utah-Nevada border, bought fuel, and then headed north towards Gandy in a dirt road, and I was on that dirt road for 75 miles. First county I was in, Millard County, Utah, and then we went to Juab County, Utah, and then Utah County, and finally into Salt Lake County, Utah on that road. And it's really strange. You could tell when you went from one county to the other. Millard and Juab counties were well maintained because they have people living out there, farmers and ranchers and folks like that. And you get up in the other counties, there's very few residents. It's probably not of any great importance to anybody being re-elected or elected. It's all politics, right, as far as roads go. And then we turned off that road and went up the Pony Express Trail, up that road, and then turned and went up to Gold Hill, Utah. And then from Gold Hill, Utah, we went over to Highway 93A that goes to Windover. It's paved.
Okay.
Went across that and then took a dirt road up to West Windover, stuck in the back way, and went to the car wash, washed all the mud and dirt off the Razor, and then went out to a great dinner at the casino, spent the night at the casino, got up in the morning, left between 9 and 10, went over to Grouse Creek, had a good time, really good time. From there we went to McCammon, Idaho, over on I-15, because there's a nice hotel there called the Harkness Hotel, boutique hotel, and very small hotel. Spent the night there, had a great dinner. From there, we drove up through the Fort Hall Indian Reservation, checked with the police department there, and they said, yeah, as long as you stay on the main road, you're good. Which brings up the fact that when you're out riding like this, you need to respect other people's property, whether it's public lands, an Indian reservation, or private property. Respect that. And if you stay on county roads that they maintain, you're in good shape. I would have taken a Forest Service road instead of going through the Fort Hall Indian Reservation, but they're closed until June 15th. And I was there on June 5th. You got to pay attention to road closures and all that. I knew that when I left to come up. And there was another way to get through around behind Lava Hot Springs, but I had to cross some private property. So I called the owner of the property, talked to him, and he said, if I let one guy through, next time it'll be 3. So, I'd really like to, but we're not going to let you come through there. So then I thought I should go through try the Indian Reservation. It was the way to go. You could probably make the ride up from the south to north every year for 20 years and never take the same roads. The other thing I would recommend, both in Garrison, you could probably book yourself in there for 3 nights and then just go ride the local area during the days because there's so much more to see.
What's the next step after getting serviced up?
Well, after Chris fixing up my Razor, I'm going to head up to Island Park today from Idaho Falls. And from there, when the time is right, I'm going to shoot down and use the Peace Trail this year. out of Bullhead City, Arizona.
Okay.
And there's quite a trail system down there. It's called the Arizona Peace Trail. The name in Spanish means peace in English. And it's a circular trail, about 700 and some miles. And once again, you can spend every night in a hotel. Then we'll go be down in Yuma, go to the Mexican border, and head on back. And then we've done it from Canada to Mexico in segments throughout in a single year. I'm not into riding every day.
Right.
Beat myself up. I just want to take my time and have a good ride.
So if you're doing a little over 100 miles a day, you're probably spending, 6 hours in the Razor?
Yeah,
Depending on the route.
could. Depends on if you take some side trips. I think after my first trip to Idaho Falls, you realize that there's some side views, some side roads that you should be taking, and so you have time to stop and smell the roses. I mean, it's a great experience, and you don't have to beat up the machine. You can drive slow, relatively slow.
Stuck in bed because you're so sore?
Oh no, there was no soreness involved. You get in there mid-afternoon and take a shower and go out to dinner and see whatever's around locally and have a really good time. The whole idea is to enjoy yourself.
Right.
Why would you go out and beat yourself up?
Exactly.
My brother Mike, who got me into all this.
This guy just like my brother, but I'm not sure I want to ride that far. But he sure did a good job and had a lot of fun. So.
You just take a little bit at a time. It's great. Well, most people think 30 miles or something like that is great, but you get out by you're kind of by yourself, and if you're with a group of 2 or 3 people, I think maybe 4 would be the maximum number you would want to go with. You look in that rearview mirror, there's no dust. It's because it was wet. It was really, 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 really nice. I'd do this anytime.
So Mike, you're going to join him on the way to Canada?
I don't know, thinking about it, we'll have to see.
That would be nice.
This would be a little different year for Debbie and I, but if things work out, we might. If not, we'll do it another time. So.
We're going again next year.
Yeah, we're going next year.
The one thing is, all this up there is impressed on me is they don't build bridges everywhere to go across the rivers or whatever. On the bright side, if there isn't good access, there's not going to be a lot of people.
We sure appreciate his mechanic abilities too.
Oh yeah.
Because he's the one that keeps these machines running. And we put at least 1,500 miles a winter on them and then bring them up, and Chris keeps them going for the next 1,500. So good mechanic.
Yep, perfect.
Excellent.
I'm on my way to Burger King.